Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel, Jose.
Where are we today?
We're in our apartments. Well, we had plans to try and get out. There's actually a heat wave in San Francisco,
Hmm.
and it's raining, making it just a wonderfully muggy temperature and no place to go.
Yep, I don't know if you actually, there was like a perfect combination, like the thunderstorm, like a 3, 4 in the morning, because it was so hot that I had all my windows open
Oh, God.
completely. And it's like when I woke up like at 3:30 in the morning and I thought that I was in a rave. It was like just with all the lightning, I was like, what the fuck is going, is there like a rave in the back patio? But I cannot hear anything. I only hear like the thunder like later. Exactly. I was missing that. So I had to just close everything. So it was miserable. I may
Uh,
have slept like 2 hours. Well, a bit more, but not a lot. So yeah, it has been a couple of miserable days.
it sure has. It sure has. But apparently it's supposed to be over tomorrow.
Oh, it is?
I thought it was just supposed to last 2 days.
Well, let's see. I mean, it's not that we can complain at anyone. We cannot use the American way about like complaining at someone until things change.
For those just joining us for the first time, this is Gabriel's Get on Zoom to complain about weather.
uh, now I feel like did you ever watch The Simpsons?
I've seen episodes. I haven't seen like an entire season or anything.
So there is this joke about like stupid complaints. There is like a picture on the newspaper of the grandparent, like screaming with a cloud in the background, and the headline is like "Old man yells at cloud."
When Tom York was complaining about streaming services,
Oh god.
Moby called him an old man yelling at trains.
Basically the same, yeah. Oh god. Yeah, I remember like him calling Spotify like the last fart of a dying industry. And it was just such an amazing thing. It was because at that point I was actually working at another company that did like something similar to Spotify, and I remember like multiple jokes that they used to have about Tom York and his opinions. It was like a recurring meme. He was a meme for the
So
company.
you should tell Tom York it's not Spotify killing the industry, it's albums like The King of Limbs.
What was the name of the remix album that he did with the Keith of Lees? XTRMNT or something like that?
I don't know.
There is a okay,
Oh,
so
but
you
now
already
it pisses
release
me off.
you already like release a very shitty album, and then you release like a remix album on top of it. So what are you trying to accomplish here? Is that you're just releasing something on top of it for just people forget how bad the first one was? And it's like when they say that which one was the worst one by Radiohead, is that you actually think about this and it's like, I cannot remember the title. It was so complicated that I can't. But yeah, in any case, today's movie was not about Thom Yorke or Radiohead. Maybe we should just look for something about them.
Yeah, we should. That's an amazing idea.
Well, we watched Suspiria by Luca Guadagnino.
That's enough.
Yeah, that has the soundtrack of by Thom Yorke. But this week, actually, sorry, I'm going to be just finishing this fun fact. The title of the remix album was TKOLRMX 1 2 3 4 5 6 7.
6, 7. Yep, I remember.
Oh God! So the movie that we watched today, what did we watch today actually? Because this was my pick, so you can say what we watched, and then I will say why.
Today we watched a 2.5-hour film called Cinema Paradiso by
Giuseppe Tornatore.
yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, I only realized now that it was 2 hours and a half. So the reason why I picked this one, I don't think that it was a
Yeah,
hate
tell
pick.
us, Jose. Tell us.
It was first. I don't think that it was a hate pick, but as soon as the movie started, my main question was not about am I going to be liking this movie after 10 years is the last time that I watched it. Well, actually 5 years. I think that I watched it with my ex. But it was not, that was not the question that it was in my brain. My question was, how much is Blake going to hate this movie?
And that's a question we'll explore the answer to now.
So before we started recording, we're talking about I have a weak spot for movies about movies or movies about the art of cinema. We already watched The Fall and discussed about The Fall, and we both like it. And Cinema Paradiso, I watched it a couple of times. I think that it tries to capture also like the very heartwarming Italian or family style of cinema. Well, sometimes they do the cinema, other times they do something pretty different. But this time is a bit more like that kind of genre, and I always found like pretty heartwarming. And I was wondering how would this hold compared with significantly better cinema that we watch.
So heartwarming and family friendly are two phrases I would absolutely use to describe this. Did you really think I was going to hate it?
You didn't?
I'm not saying whether or not I hated it. I'm asking what you thought.
I thought that you would hate it because I think that it has like all the elements that I don't know. Like if I think about heartwarming and family friendly, the kind of movie that I think that you could use for defining that, it could be A Christmas Tale. It's a family cinema.
That is a heartwarming. I love that movie. That makes me feel so nice inside.
But it's a bit more like, dysfunctional family, like treating each other pretty poorly.
All families are dysfunctional.
Sure.
They still love each other.
But this tries to be like charming and, like just capturing a nostalgic time, a nostalgic time when no one has grown up with this kind of idyllic situation, like post World War II, and it's like, I don't think that things were like so okay post World War II, like Italy, but sure, let's roll with it.
Not just Italy, in Sicily.
Yeah, in Sicily. But what do you think? What is this movie about, by the way?
So, as you said, this is post World War II Italy. It's like 1950-ish or 1940.
48.
The war has been over for a few years, but there's still obviously damage to the town. And it's, I don't know if you would call it bucolic, but it's this little town in Sicily, and there's a little boy whose name is...
Toto,
but
by his real name is Salvatore.
That's right, Salvatore. So he's what, 7, 8, and he's just completely obsessed with the local cinema called Cinema Paradiso. Mm-hmm. And he basically spends all the time he spends it in that theater. He sneaks in with the priest when the priest is doing censorship of the movies, and he strikes up a very lovely friendship with an unlikely man, an adult man who runs the projector.
So I have a question for you. Did you find the guy hot?
No.
Okay.
And there's a framing device that I skipped. It starts out with a very successful man in Rome in a very beautiful apartment with a beautiful woman in his bed, and he told that, hey, your mom called from Sicily. She said someone died. His name is Alfredo. And then we see he remembers his entire childhood in chronological order, and everything that happened centered around the cinema. A lot of it's focused on this friendship with the projectionist, with Alfredo. Spoiler alert, Jesus. And also, my husband, whose father was actually born in Sicily, had a different take on this. I saw the mother as being very emotionally and physically abusive, and there wasn't a single scene of affection between the mom and the son.
Okay.
And so I was very confused about the homecoming and how he hadn't been to see her in 30 years. Well, yeah, she was a super shitty mother. Like, I wouldn't go back and see her either. But he says that's just a typical Italian mother.
I don't know. Maybe it's because Italy culture is a bit like closer to Spanish culture. I didn't feel like she was like being abusive. I think that it was like just a single mother, like just trying to get by.
All the time.
Yeah. So what?
So it's not that if she beats him, she can't love him. It's that there wasn't a single scene of affection between that boy and his mother, not once. She got super angry at him. She beat him because he said that his father was dead in the war, which his dad did die in the war. And I just couldn't buy that he actually loved his mother because I didn't see any redeeming qualities in her. yeah, essentially that's it. And then the story goes through him returning for Alfredo's funeral. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff, but overall, it's a boy revisiting the magic of movies in his childhood and everything that movies represented for his community.
And how he actually does, how movies shaped his life, and how he left his village in Sicily for just having a life in Rome. That basically is that he left and he didn't go back. So I have to say that I like that. I have forgotten about like that part of the message of saying that if you are born in the middle of nowhere, and it's like sometimes you need to just take a step forward and not looking back, because it will be like very easy and complacent for just staying where you are.
I completely agree. I see myself kind of in Salvatore. I mean, I grew up in a village in rural Idaho, and I discovered that I loved cinema, and it kind of opened up a world for me.
Oh, so you're like little Toto.
I told you I saw Wit, and I thought, oh, my God, there's more of this out there?
Okay, that's fair. Thankfully, there is not too much like Wit out there, thankfully.
And there's a gorgeous score by Ennio Morricone.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the score?
I did not. It just feels very dated to me, and also they played it in every single scene over and over. It just wouldn't stop, and I was like, that's why I knew it was 2.5 hours, because I had to listen to that.
Yeah, every single time that they play that melody, the main theme melody, and they may play like 10 times across the movie, I thought, Blake is hating this. Right now he's hating this. He's like just saying like, what the fuck were you thinking, Jose? And would you say that this is a melodramatic movie?
Melodramatic?
Yeah.
It didn't come across melodramatic to me. It all felt very believable. There's really the only drama that happens in his childhood, besides his father dying in the war, and let's get real, this is post-World War II Italy, a lot of people died. That's not crazy. Was that when they were using the very flammable type of film, the theater catches on fire, and Alfredo gets pretty wounded and loses his eyesight. And that's the only thing that I was like, oh, can you imagine the irony? The man who runs the movies can't see the movies anymore.
But he can actually detect with his Daredevil vision sense if the movie is out of focus.
Yes.
Yeah. I felt like, sure, yeah, I could take that.
So I would be curious to hear, so you said the last time you saw this was maybe 5 years ago?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, I would say. I mean, this is a movie, I think that I told you this, but when I was in college, we used to go to a bar, like every Thursday night, because they had a pub quiz kind of game, like a trivia night. And we had like the same group of people, like 10 people playing every single time. And one of the rounds was about cinema, because the guy that owned the bar, is like, he is probably the person that I know that knows the most about cinema after you.
What the
after you. But no, he knows a lot. So he was the first person that introduced me to a lot of classic cinema. He was the kind of person that I would go like every week, and I would tell him, just give me some homework. So I used to do like something similar to what I would do with you, but with him, about like just talking about.
So you were Toto, and he was your Alfredo.
Something like that. But the thing is, like in one of those weeks, when we were doing like the movie round for the trivia, if you had a perfect round, he would give a movie of his collection. He had like thousands of movies, because he was writing for some of the newspapers in Spain. Like the reviews. So he would be like, look, I'm never going to be like watching, like movies like this, like this movie again. So he would be like just giving them away. And I had Cinema Paradiso. I may still have it here. I may actually have brought it with me because we won it that week. So I just kept it.
And that's the first time you saw it? It was from his copy?
Yeah, from his copy.
That's a nice story.
Yeah, so it's a movie that I kept like in good regard, because he told me that you're going to like it. It's a classic movie, and probably this was like 2004 or 3, And he's like, at that point, he was almost 20 years old. Well, 15 years old.
Is this guy a bear by chance?
No, it's not. No, it was not my type at all. Don't worry, no. No. And
I like there was some sort of crush there, but
no. There was no sexual crush in any kind of way, you know. But you know, we had like very good like chemistry conversation. You know, it was the kind of person that always sounded a bit like a jerk. But when you actually get to know him, he's like, "Oh, you're a jerk," but in a fun way. So
I know
we got along like pretty well. And the thing is that he gave me that movie, and I watched it, and I understood that it's okay. This is a good movie. This is a good movie by my standards, and I understand why I like this. But I have to say, when I watched it like 4 or 5 years ago, I felt a bit less engaged with it. And this time when I watched it, I felt like, So yeah, I can see like all the elements that you're putting together, like the music about like, here comes the feels. Now is when you feel something. So I felt like very, not like cheating, you know, but I felt like this is not honest. I had the feeling that there is like way more effort into The Fall as a love letter than there is here.
But did you feel that way even after they listed all of the awards that it won right at the beginning of the film?
What I felt is like it was the 80s. I felt like they were the 80s.
It was 1990.
1990? Okay. So the movie was released on 88, I think, in Italy. And it took like 2 years,
really?
For the States to actually just get a hold of it. But,
IMDb does say 88. Sorry, I don't know why I thought it was 90.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me just check the Oscars, like what year they gave it. What I feel is that this is the classic movie that Hollywood is going to love, because it's true that it's not about like Hollywood cinema. It's about cinema in general, you know, like cinema from the 50s. But Hollywood is going to be...
I would disagree with you. I don't think it's about cinema. I think it's about the love of cinema. There's very little interest in the actual movies.
Sure. What I mean is that it's not about like just... Well, they talk a bit about like making cinema, but they talk about like how influential and how heartwarming cinema can be, how they can affect us in our lives, and how it also like bring together people, especially during that time that it was the only entertainment that you would have. From that perspective, I think that whatever movie elevates cinema, that it make it like look better, is something that the Academy is going to love. It's going to go crazy about it. That's the reason why The Artist won like Best Movie. That's the reason why La La Land won for 30 seconds Best Movie, you know, and many other ones of this style. It's like I think that this like this kind of honest exercise that Hollywood loves. That is a... We don't have to do the effort of telling how amazing cinema is, because there is a director here that is telling how amazing cinema is for us. So we only need to just give it an award.
So it did win an Oscar. Do you know which Oscar it won?
Best Foreign Film.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that it would have won anything else. In 1990, yeah. So it was like the Oscars for 89, I guess.
So you said that 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, you watched it. You understood this was a film that you loved. It's about a subject that you love, but you felt not as engaged with it 4 or 5 years ago. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. It's like at that point, I was already like just feeling a bit, there is something off. You know, it's a bit more of the reason, and I was asking you about like if you thought that it was melodramatic, but the correct question would be if it's a cheap film, if it actually just takes shortcuts for just making points.
Yes, they did.
So I felt this time that I could actually see like all the smoke and mirrors that they are placed by Giuseppe Tornatore. About like now I'm going to be like making you feel X. So the relationship between the kid and the projector, it felt more forced this time than any other time that I watched the movie. You know, it felt a bit more like, this feels almost like if someone just wrote a sitcom. Like, I don't know, Cinema Matters.
So this was my first time seeing it, and I did feel like there were some smoke and mirrors. The one thing that I genuinely enjoyed was the relationship between Salvatore and Alfredo. I'm not sure how I would feel 20 years from now watching it again.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, the same way that in other movies, I still think that, we have rewatched a couple of recent movies that I watched like years ago when I was started to just get a bit more into cinema, and I understood more why I like them or why I dislike them. For example, I didn't like The Hunger, is that now I understood way better like why I didn't like it. Or, I like intimate stories and I understand a bit better like why I like it. What is like the merits of a movie like that? Or The Servant, even like feeling surprised about like, oh, this is even better than I thought. This is one of those cases that is like, no, this is even worse than I thought.
Yeah, I have to say that I don't know why, but in my head, I thought you absolutely loved this film. And I think you do like it, but I just had a different understanding.
Yeah.
And I was surprised because I was like, it's a little bit weak in terms of...
Yeah, it's like the script is something that, look, I understand what you're trying to make here, but it's like it's so cheap that you're making it that it feels like a Hallmark movie.
That's a very good description. Very good.
Yeah.
I also don't like... So I just want to say, overall, I liked the film. I did.
Okay.
There were things that bothered me. I didn't like the score being played over and over and over again. I didn't understand clearly, I think culturally, the mother-son relationship. And I don't like the implication that if you leave your little village and make a life for yourself, you're somehow not authentic, or I felt like that was an implicit statement of the film, that he kind of gave up his authenticity and become rich in Rome.
I think that was more like for pursuing his dream, that he was like just embracing what was his upbringing, because he actually found his sensibility to cinema through his upbringing, and that's like the career that he does. But
I'm sorry, when Alfredo dies and he's walking behind the hearse, and there's Alfredo's wife, I guess?
Yeah, I think that is the wife, yeah, the widow.
He says, hey, Alfredo left you something, please come and see me. And he leaves him a film. And then he sits down to watch the film. I was so damn touched by that.
So
ashamed.
The first time that I watched it, I cried on that scene. I found it like...
I teared up. I was like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's a love letter at that point, It's about like, okay, I mean, I don't know if you got like all the foreshadowing, at the beginning of the movie when he says like, oh, this is yours, but I'm going to keep it. That is like, oh.
I mean, I figured something was coming regarding those. They just kept harping on it.
Yeah, but the funny thing is like when I watch it the second time, it still like just moved me a bit. But this time I felt it's like, what does it matter? I mean, it's great, like all the kisses and everything, but it's like it was not something like in the fall when they have the final reel. And I actually compare these two movies because both of them, they do the same thing. About like at the end, we're going to be like doing a reel, of classic cinema. It's like in the fall, at least it's about falls. And it's about like a whole maze of stunts actors that is like, it's basically what you have been seeing for the last 90 minutes. But in this is like, did those kisses like matter that much? How did this connect?
So for people listening who might have not seen the film, the Alfredo has to cut out any kisses, and the priest demanded, so he would literally cut out these kisses and then splice them together. And Salvatore wanted to take them home as like mementos of his time with Alfredo in the projection booth. So when he dies, he inherits this reel of film, and Alfredo had spliced together all of the kisses that Salvatore had found. It wasn't even sexual. There was nothing like lurid about it. It was just, this was a symbol of his time with Alfredo. And so when I started to watch it, I see what you say, and I also think if I were to watch this film in a year, I would see even less that's appealing. But it was damn effective the first time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Definitely. But it's the problem with these kind of situations is like, for example, there are things in cinema that they can be effectivist, but at the same time they can hold their place, they can hold their ground. This is a bit more like you don't see it coming, is that you may actually see that they are going to be like doing something with the reels, but you don't expect it to be this. So the first time that you see is that this is beautiful, And I also like the scene when they project the movie to the building, that I think that is like just before the fire starts.
Yes, it's the night the fire starts. That's
Yeah.
when the cinema burns down.
Yeah, and I think that that's also like pretty cute, like pretty sweet. About okay, we're going to be like projecting the movie. Everyone in the village that they couldn't get into the cinema, they are going to be like just watching the movie there, and it represents a bit more like how in that time cinema like got everyone together. It was like the main thing, the main entertaining that everyone was about, you know. So I thought that it's like okay, there is a message here, you know. But it's like the one about the kisses is like I don't know if there is some kind of cultural part about like the censorship. That for him it would be a bit more like just finding something that I was missing in his life. But I think that the more that you know that that's coming, the less importance it has.
Yeah, I can see that. If you knew
Yeah.
what the film was going to have.
Yeah, and it's like now I'm thinking about like effectives or just things that you know that they're going to happen, and I'm thinking, so spoiler alert for Seven, just in case that you haven't watched this movie in the last 30 years, but it's like when you know from the beginning of the movie, like from the first time that Gwyneth Paltrow is on the screen, that is like, oh, her head is going to be in a box at the end of the movie.
What's in the box?
It's in the box. But it's like that thing is like so well made, and there is like such a good build up towards that it actually closed the full circle. So it's effectivist, but at the same time, it's like even you know that that's going to be like happening, it has a meaning for happening. The same way that in the fall, that real at the end is a love letter. It's adorable. Even when the whole hospital is like just watching the movie, is that's also like pretty sweet. It's like in this case, I feel like, sure, I know what you're trying to make, but it's like it's once again smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I think the director is very good at playing with your emotions and making you feel what he wants to feel, but it's not like solid filmmaking or storytelling.
Yeah. So, would you be, so the classic questions is, would you watch this movie again?
I wouldn't say no. It's not like I can't wait to watch this again, but if in 5 years, if you're like, hey, we should rewatch that for our podcast, that's so successful now, I would probably watch it again.
Okay,
but I would
that's
recommend this. I would definitely recommend this to, for instance, there's a lot of my family would absolutely enjoy this film a tremendous amount, and I would recommend it to anybody who's looking for, as we said, family-friendly, heartwarming. It's a nice film. It's just not a significant film.
This is a mother and grandmother recommendable movie.
Yes. My niece could watch it.
Yep.
It is very sweet, and it does examine nostalgia very well. I think that's too pretentious way to say it, but it is a nostalgic film, and it makes you feel, I don't know, nostalgia for your own childhood, the art that you connected with.
When you grew up in Sicily?
When I grew up in Sicily or rural Idaho, the Cardinal Potato Festival.
Yeah, so what did you think artistically about this movie?
I don't know that it had much to stand out artistically. I think it's very functional. I'm trying to remember if there's anything that particularly stood out. I don't think that there was.
I'm trying to think. I think that the most aesthetically, I don't know, interesting scene is when they are projecting the movie on the building. You know, I think that is like the only thing that I would say that it was, oh, that's cool, you know, that you guys did that, and it actually works okay. But besides that, I don't think that there is anything too groundbreaking, or, you know, like nothing to just write home about.
The one shot that does stand out to me is when basically whatever authority finds out that Salvatore's father was killed in the war, so they called the mom and the son to come in. They find out he's dead, and they walk home together through kind of war. The buildings destroyed by bombs. There's just brick everywhere. I felt that was really great at portraying the sense of kind of devastation that must have existed at that time. I really enjoyed that one scene.
What do you think that the women in the main square of the village are doing on those tables? Like just spreading all the red stuff. You think there is tomato sauce?
Yeah, I thought it was potato. Like, are they making some sort of sauce? I have no idea. It was a lovely shot, but I was like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I thought that shot, I was like, yeah, it's okay, you know. I also like that the actors they feel a bit realistic, you know. Some of the actors, not the main ones, you know, but it's like some of the people that they portray in the cinema and everything is like pretty clear that 95% of the people here, they are not actors.
Yeah. Do you remember? So they screen a movie onto the wall of the building 2 times, right? And the second time, it's on kind of on the water, and there's a bunch of people in boats.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm
that's true.
98% certain that that is the same filming location for the talented Mr. Ripley. Is it?
No, I don't know. I don't think that it is. I don't think that it is.
Oh, it looks exactly like it. I called it out to my husband.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it at the beginning, but at the same time, it's like I'm pretty sure that there is more than a single village by the sea there.
In Italy, I don't.
You know, there's just this small corner of sea. Everything else is like in.
Everything is filmed right here in Italy.
Exactly. No, I don't know. I don't think that is the same one. That is the same village. At least I feel. And besides that, were they in Sicily?
Yeah, they were in Sicily.
Gotcha. I don't think that is the same.
That's why he has to fly from Rome.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't think that is the same, but I may be wrong. In any case, no, I was talking. It was Sicily in the talented Mr. Ripley.
I don't think they were in Sicily in the talented Mr. Ripley.
Okay, I can check that because otherwise I'm not going to be. The cliffside resort town of Positano and various villages on the islands of Ischia and Procida near Naples. And then we can check Cinema Paradiso location. Sicily, the whole thing. It's actually was shot in director Tornatore's hometown, Bagheria, Sicily.
And you said the talented Mr. Ripley was filmed in Sicily as well?
No, I didn't say that.
I was also doing my own Google searches.
And so, no, I told you a moment ago, Sally, where talented Mr. Ripley was.
So, spoiler alert, I just saw your score in the spreadsheet.
Where did you go to pick it? No, it's a city called Positano in Italy.
All right, fine.
That is actually in the mainland.
Maybe I'm xenophobic and think all foreigners look the same. All foreign locations look the same.
Sure. Okay, so what is your score? Because you already know mine. Why? What was going to be your score?
I literally hadn't thought about it. I honestly think it would have been a 6, maybe a 5.5, but I do think this is more than a mediocre film. I think it's a good film.
I think that it's a good film. That's the reason why I go with 6, because even if I think that is smoke and mirrors, it's solid usage of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. So it loses a few points for being family friendly. It loses a few points for being heartwarming.
So what did you expect? Like Alfredo trying to molest Toto?
I wanted another Loveless. That's what I wanted.
Like Toto getting lost. All the Sicily villas, they're trying to find him. And then like just the mother, like just running with an Italy t-shirt with Berlusconi face.
I honestly think I would have scored this a 6.5. I think I liked it more than you did.
That's absolutely fine. Do you want to go with a 6.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Overall, I enjoyed my experience. It was 2.5 hours long, which it didn't feel 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like sometimes when we watch cinema that I already watched in the past, I feel proud of myself for liking it back in the day, you know? I mean, this one I felt like I was young. You know, it's like, I may have some kind of excuse if I need to come up with one, you know? And once again, I don't think that is bad. I think that is a bit more of, we can do better. I think, and I told you this, I think that The Fall is a heartwarming movie.
Yes, but it's very dark. It's very dark.
Sure, it's a bit dark, you know, but at the same time, it's like it's adorable. It's like just the little girl is adorable. I find the little girl of the fall more adorable than this kid.
Oh yeah, this kid really annoyed me as like the 8-year-old version of himself.
Yeah.
I mean, his lines were funny and good, but it's like I would fucking smack you, kid. Like,
Well, I mean, it's a thing that is Italy, so maybe, you know, it's like that's how all kids
that would be
behave.
just fine, right?
Yeah, it's just the average kid.
So overall, I'm glad that you had me watch this because I never would have watched it on my own, and it's not like it's going to be my favorite film, but I appreciate it, and I really like most Italian film. Not most. That's completely absurd to say. The few Italian films that I've seen, I tend to enjoy.
So I think that I already asked you this, and you already told me that you didn't watch it, but did you watch Life is Beautiful?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, several times.
Oh, did you like it?
It was too sad for me. Like, my mom owned the VHS.
Okay.
And it's a lovely story, it's a beautiful story, but it's just, I have a really hard time watching Holocaust films for entertainment, and it's just brutal at the end. It was too much for my 12-year-old self.
Yeah. Did you watch Jojo Rabbit?
I did not, for the same reason. I'm sure I might even like the film, but trying to get me excited to watch a Holocaust film, I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I felt with Life is Beautiful, I felt like, okay, this is a comedy, but it's not really a comedy. It's like everything that is happening around the situation is like it's still the same tragedy that we are used to watching other Holocaust movies. With Jojo Rabbit, I had the feeling that they go with this kind of absurd humor that I think that they actually just try. I don't think that is like the purpose about like trying to water down what happened. That is a no, that's not exactly how it happened. You can make a comedy, like a short comedy, but I don't think that that's okay.
Yeah, I should watch it, but
yeah, I'm surprised that actually, I'm curious about this now, but in Life is Beautiful, I'm checking the scores, and it has a 59 in Metacritic.
Whoa. I
But it
thought
has,
that was like a universally loved film.
yeah, it has an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes, an 8.6 in IMDb, but in Metacritic it's a 59, so I'm surprised people hated it.
Well, I'll need to read the New York Times review before I understand how I feel.
Yeah, so there is a 0 from Slate that it says Benigni's movie made me want to throw up. That's the headline of the review. But actually this movie, Cinema Paradiso, made me think of Life is Beautiful.
How so?
So it's another heartwarming, you know, it's true that Life is Beautiful is a way more dramatic, of course, but it's still a movie that I would recommend to my mother and my grandmother because they're going to cry, they're going to feel moved by it, and it plays pretty safe. There is nothing, you know.
But I would also add to that these are relatively smarter films than like a Nicholas Sparks film that's going to move these same women. So it's okay. I just want to.
True, that's a fair point. This is not really a Hallmark movie, but it's still targeted to the same audience.
To any family that's listening, we would recommend this because it's both heartwarming and smart.
Yeah, if there is any family out there listening together to this podcast, it's like, please just stop. This is not a podcast to listen, you know, as a family. There shouldn't be kids listening to this.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is a nice film. It's not a significant film, and I'm not sorry that I watched it.
That's fair. It's okay entertainment.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So, what are we watching next time? Because it's your pick.
It is my pick, and we are going to watch Le Boucher, which is by a French director that created a film about 15 years ago that I absolutely loved called A Girl Cut in Two. And he likes to do like these psychological sexual thrillers about the upper French class and the sexual games they play and how they use up people from the lower classes. And
okay.
I'm really hoping it's as awesome as I think it might be, but I haven't seen it, so we'll see.
Okay, no, that sounds promising at least. Anything else that we need to say about Cinema Paradiso?
Maybe we could just listen to the Ennio Morricone.
I would try to just add
one
it.
More time.
Yeah, I would try to add it as background music. Oh man, well, this was fun. Thank you so much for listening. 2, 3, 4 people out there.
Wash your hands.
Bye.